Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another review here on Pez. Excuse me, of the Mind. This is another episode of our ongoing series where we take a look at the ABC television series Once Upon a Time. This will be our look back at the recently completed season 6. Season that was long rumored to potentially be the final season and had a two-part season finale that could have served as one had been made. However, the show was renewed but without most of its cast. Interesting what happens next year, but
Are you not plugged in again?
Yeah, it's like you're breaking up. You're not plugged in.
oh, okay, all right.
But as Jim's plugging in, yeah, we here at Pairs of the Excuse Me Mind are going to look at Once Upon a Time season 6. But yay! This is the series about random stuff.
Yeah, like a lot of shit happens.
Like multiple stories going on all at once throughout this whole thing.
And where some
I think-
end, others pick up.
And I think Jim came back.
Oh, I don't see. I just see him still gone.
Oh, okay, it's possible when he plugged in, it booted him out. Sorry about that, folks. But yes, we opened up with them talking about it was a continuation of the stories that never were in an arc that never was because it went nowhere and then ended like 2 episodes in. That has to be irony, right?
Yes. Oh, I think he's back because he turned off his camera. Oh, there it's back on. I don't know.
Are you there, Jim? Are you there, Jim? No? Okay.
Oh, wait. See, look it. There's 2 Pairs of the Mind, so I think he's come back.
Yeah. Wait, there is another.
That's the mirror universe.
But yeah, the other one's now gone black. Is Jim still there? Or is Jim there now? Or did he just log back in and then exit the room? Ah, there he is. And that brings us to the end of season 6.
Thanks for joining us, folks. We'll see you next time.
No, now you're actually back, even though you returned and then weren't there when you logged in, which is weird. But yeah, we were just talking
Because
about...
I switched to the cable, but the cable wasn't plugged in downstairs because my dad's playing around with shit and I had to go fix it.
Yeah, it was just weird that because there was 2 of you, so it looked like you rejoined and then weren't here. When you came in, I was like, wait, he hit joined and just ran off. But yeah, it's a case of... Yeah, like I said, the beginning
season is
bit,
shit.
which was,
The end.
No, I said the beginning bit, which we were discussing, which was Mr. Jekyll and Dr. Hyde, and
Scratch that, reverse it.
I know. But to be fair, they separated them in this and destroyed everything about him.
Yeah.
They ruined the part where he turns into the other, so it's like, well, at this point, why not?
Mm.
And Hyde seems more intelligent than Jekyll,
Yeah.
Mhm.
which isn't his thing. But yeah, it was just weird, and it was the stories that never were. And like I said, the arc went nowhere fast, like 4 episodes into it, and it just ended. So it was the arc that never was.
Pretty much.
We then have the other arc of Regina's doppelganger,
Yep.
Evil Queen and Regina. So for that arc, we can refer to them as 2 separate people,
Mm-hmm.
which seem to go nowhere.
Well, it got resolution for the Evil Queen, but it seemed like there was no point in doing that and just separating them in the first place.
Yeah, but to be fair, the Evil Queen's redemption or closure, if you want to call it, happened later after her little arc suddenly felt like it ended. Then suddenly, episodes later, she then returned and got closure, and you're like, that's weird.
Yeah. I always had the feeling for almost this entire season that they had some ideas of what they wanted to do this season, and then all of a sudden they were told that you might be getting canceled, and so they went into panic mode to try to shove as much shit in the season as possible so they could get to their what was presumably their pre-planned ending.
Which isn't a good way to write a show.
No, it's not at all, and it kind of sucks that that went that way. But if anything, what they should have done is the doppelganger evil queen just should have been the main villain at the end of the season, rather than bringing in this black fairy who had no development and was not intimidating in any way.
Honestly, Hyde should have been the main villain. They hyped him at the end of the last season, and they went on to this. Just like the season where right at the end of the arc, you saw the frozen person coming. Oh, she was the big bad, and that's what the story was.
Yeah.
You can't tease what the next season is just to write it off in 2 episodes. It's like, no. And so it felt like the land that never was, or the story that never was, whatever the hell it was, felt like that should have been extended to a full season.
It's not run by nobodies.
Mm-hmm. Isn't it? But no, it's a case of it should have been extended all the way through to the point that, you know what I mean? That could have been fleshed out, and there was a million, because they said there was thousands of different stories that hadn't been told there. That's a great way of introducing a load of characters you haven't yet done, and not had to go the thing of, oh wait, they were in Storybook in the Enchanted Forest the whole time.
They weren't in the yeah. I mean, they weren't in the Enchanted Forest the whole time.
No, but they all had ties to it. And
but
in that same world. Whereas the idea of the stories that never were, and people who had no ties to that world, so you didn't know what to expect, that was an interesting concept, and that would have turned the whole show onto its head. And like, oh my god, that's awesome! But within 2 episodes, they just went back to their safety zone.
Well, it was a land of untold stories, and the idea was not necessarily they were all from the Enchanted Forest, just that they had all come from other worlds and inevitably ended up in this place. Some were from the Enchanted Forest, some were from Agrabah, some were from Hyde was from a completely different world.
Time out. You've missed the point. I was saying that was interesting because, like you said, they weren't all from the Enchanted Forest. Whereas the second they got rid of that, every single character that was introduced later felt like the same stuff they'd done in the previous seasons. As this one's tied to Rumpelstiltskin, this one's tied to Agrabah, and all the stuff we've seen previously.
But they really didn't introduce a whole lot of characters after that.
Yeah, but all the ones they did, like the Evil Queen. Oh, look, it's one of the fairy, I should say. The Black Fairy. Oh, look, it's Rumpelstiltskin's parent that abandoned him and went evil. Have we not seen this before?
Yeah.
Oh, look, it's Aladdin and Jasmine. Oh, wait, we already saw Genie's story, even though we don't get to see Genie in this one. We've seen Genie before. So it all felt like they're from the worlds we've already seen, like it's their safety net. Whereas the other one, there was way more possibilities of stuff we hadn't seen. Like, as much as I criticize or didn't enjoy as much, or thought it was weird, I should say, the Frankenstein stuff, they could have done a lot more of that stuff and made sense thanks to this land of untold or forgotten stories.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I felt that should have been this arc going forward. It's a great way of introducing new characters and not have to suddenly, you know what I mean, pad out people's backstory because now, this one needs to at some point have met Rumpelstiltskin and the Charmings. It's like, oh no, we don't need this. You can get a whole new clean slate with the characters, and it's cool.
The Black Fairy was the only one they really did that for, though, because most of the ones they introduced early on were from the Land of Untold Stories. There was Hyde and Jekyll, which we established. There was the Count of Monte Cristo. There was that Oracle. There were a few others. Aladdin and Jasmine technically came from there, even though she was from Agrabah originally. But I really don't think they should have done the Aladdin and Jasmine thing. I think they put Aladdin and Jasmine here because the audience was expecting it and they felt obligated to. But they didn't do it very well, and I don't think they should have done it. As much as they did have good actors playing the characters, I will give the actors credit. They were enjoyable to watch, and they did feel like Aladdin and Jasmine to some extent. But
where was his monkey?
His monkey was the monkey that went bing 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 in the shop.
Yeah, ding 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 ding.
Yeah, but I mean, where was his actual monkey, and where was her tiger?
Well, that might have been his actual monkey, because if you remember the fight scene at the end of the movie Aladdin, Jafar turned Abu into the little clank 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 monkey.
Yep.
So that maybe happened. Who knows? But yeah, it was especially annoying because they did Jafar's story in the Wonderland arc. It felt like they were running around that, and I felt like because I didn't watch that, I didn't really know what was going on with that. So I felt like they expected you to watch the Wonderland to understand what was going on with Jafar. Otherwise, it just felt really weird and not developed. Yeah, the Land of Untold Stories have possibilities, but I felt like it would have been a good idea if they were using those characters. And then I understand why they brought the Evil Queen back, but I feel like what should happen is the Evil Queen should have just steadily got more evil, and she should have been the villain at the end. And it should have been, and that would have been a more poetic bookmark that the Evil Queen is recasting the curse, and Henry's got to get him and break it again for the finale. Then it would have been a bookmark, and it would have made sense.
Yeah, but that was the thing of like how they kind of gave her closure was kind of the point of they shouldn't have been separate anyway, because all the evil stuff she did is what made her strong anyway. Separating the two seemed silly, and it felt like an excuse just to go back to, oh look, it's this one's got ties to the Charmings, and oh look, all the characters now hate the Evil Queen again, and you're like, oh come on. The Untold Stories, it was something new, and it was cool. Like you wanted at one point, and I think other people have said they wanted Dracula in there.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
He could have come easily from that place, and it would have made sense. As much as you could have got Pocahontas or any of the other ones that haven't been told, and not had to tie them all back to the previous stuff. Because every time they do, it just makes it more convoluted.
Yeah, I was upset they went through. They did like when we first saw the Land of Untold Stories during the finale of season 5. We saw a lot of semi-recognizable characters in there. I mean, there were some characters like Algarve. You clearly saw the Three Musketeers in there. You saw a bunch of things. We never got to see any of those characters. And on top of that, in the earlier part of the finale, you saw Henry looking at those storybooks in the New York Public Library that had all these other characters in it, Paul Bunyan and all these other stories they hadn't used. None of that ever gets used. Mole, you're muted.
Yeah, that was my point, though. Of all of that stuff would have been a better season.
Yeah, exactly. You're absolutely right. This season just felt like a clusterfuck.
And it was weird because everyone kept bragging about how, don't worry, this isn't going to be multiple arcs. It's just going to be one continuous story. And it's only one continuous story in the vaguest sense.
Yeah.
It's all continuous in the sense they still have the season 6 in front of it.
Yeah. I just mean because each one, they gave like a tiny little thing that was going to tie into this. Like, the Evil Queen arc came from the fucking Untold Stories arc with the Hyde Jekyll separation stuff. Then from her came the fucking evil or black fairy and stuff. So you know what I mean? So they span each one off the other one, but
yeah,
that doesn't make it continuous. I thought Jim would have said something, but no.
Yeah, no, it's the season has some problems. I mean, there were too many villains and they weren't used very well, and the concept of the Gideon Black Fairy storyline was interesting, but it wasn't developed well at all. And the Black Fairy just wasn't intimidating as a supposed final villain for Emma's story. And it's like, I'm sorry, no, it just doesn't. No,
Gideon, I didn't like the Gideon thing.
Yeah, no,
that was dumb.
It was an interesting, unique concept, but it was just it wasn't used well at all.
Not that unique. We've seen stuff like that in many shows before.
True, but it was still interesting.
Example, Pew. Connor from Angel.
Yeah.
Oh, look, he's a baby and now he's come back and now he's a whiny guy that's been manipulated by the main enemy of the season to try and kill the heroes. The only difference is that one was actually done better.
Yeah.
No one wants to see that. Like, there's more places to go with Rumpelstiltskin and Belle than that, because that just felt like an excuse to have Belle complain about the darkness again and struggle with it again a little bit. You know what I mean? And be the victim without actual, and like, oh no, I don't want my loved one to be evil, without actually going full Rumpel Belle.
Well, I think the idea was supposed to be that at that point they couldn't directly reconcile Rumpelstiltskin and Belle. So they decided they were going to have the Gideon thing so that the two of them had to work together for a mutual goal, and that would kind of bring them back together again, and they were going to try to use that as a way to lead up to Rumpel's redemption in the finale.
I didn't like that. I wanted her to be like, listen, you know what? You need a restraining order. You can't come within this. I don't care if we share a kid. You can work here. I would rather die than have to even deal with your bullshit one more time.
Thank you.
But she wants her son to grow to know his father.
too fucking bad.
Because
Get
she
married to
doesn't
some
want to
other guy.
wait for her life to be over. And I want to know right now. Sorry. The musical's in a bit. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. But no, like I said, Rumpel should be, like I've argued before, Rumpel should be able to be redeemed because they've gone out their way to redeem the evil queen who raped someone for 20 years, killed people's parents, mentally abused a child,
Yeah.
and even threw her onto the streets basically and hunted her down to try and kill her. And they redeemed her. They could have redeemed him. Anyway, it's all magic. Anyone could be redeemed.
Mm.
Even Rumpel could have been redeemed. Like if he gave up all of his darkness and just gave it all up, he'd be redeemed. Yeah, he may have to
He did
constantly
that
keep
before.
earning it and struggling to do it, but he can do it.
I just think he's pretty much given up.
Because
Yeah,
he
He's
lost the
given up.
darkness once before. He even became a hero to the point that he was able to pull the sword from the stone. And then first opportunity, he took the darkness back.
Yeah, that's what I was on about. If he learned to not do that, and you know what I mean, if they did it right and just kept him not doing that, it could be cool. But unfortunately, every time like he needs to be evil, like to make him evil again.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense because even Rumble went out of his way to say, I like the darkness. I like being the dark one. This is who I am. He wants to be the dark one.
Yeah, but as they've also mentioned multiple times throughout it, he doesn't really want to be the dark one. He only wants to be the dark one because he's a coward. If he overcame his cowardice, he could be a hero. Every time he gives into darkness, it's like an addict. If he just struggles with it, and he's like, no, and he just gives in because it's the easy thing to do because he's a coward.
I don't know. The biggest problem feels between a lot of these characters is that the writers put these they try to have these real world issues happening in this fantasy realm, and they assume because there's magic in fantasy that the real world issues don't matter, and they clearly don't have any concept of the effects that has or how to write them properly between the multiple rapes that have happened in this show. And you could say, okay, people murdered people. That's used in fiction all the time, and that doesn't necessarily directly impact people. But when you have like rapes and abuse and all this kind of shit going on,
Murder is still bad.
murder is bad, yes, but murder has reached a point in our society where you could say somebody murdered a lot of people off screen and it makes them bad without it having a direct effect on the audience. Even if you kill a couple characters on screen, it establishes it without going too far. Killing is just that at that point in our society.
I would argue when you say it doesn't have an impact on our society, isn't that why we have more guns and terrorist attacks and stuff like that nowadays than we ever have before? Because people pick up, like, say, a Call of Duty game, or they see people murdering people on TV as if it's no big deal, and they're like, cool.
I also argue that because of you can get like, I don't know, like 5 or 10 years for prison for like murder, but if you like, smoke against an illegal substance, you will get like life. So like murder's not really that bad in like terms of the penal system, which is kind of fucked up.
Actually, to be fair, a lot of murder, if you murder someone, you can also get sent to death row.
Yeah, but like how we have it here, like if you like do an illegal substance, you will probably almost guaranteed always get more time for that than murder.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It depends on the state, because there's states over there where they go straight to the death row.
Some of them, yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have
sorry.
To be fair, it's not a bad thing.
Yeah. But the biggest problem is just feel like there's a lot of real world issues that people watching may have had to, had impact their lives. And the fact is, they don't seem to have any concept of the psychological after effects of these things and how to properly write them. They use them for plot convenience. Somebody I'm on a Once Upon a Time Facebook group, and somebody made a comment that pretty much summed it up. Basically, for the longest time now, the show has been purely plot driven without having a sense of how that plot is actually affecting the characters.
Yeah, it's lazy writing of each season. They just reset it to the status quo.
Pretty much.
Basically.
I mean, it says it all. And like I said, this season, oh no, Hook can't get married to Hook and Emma are going to get married. We need to throw something into the works to create tension. I know. Hook murdered Prince Charming's dad. And then the second it gets time to, Prince Charming's like, yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, it was weird.
And you're like, that shouldn't happen. You shouldn't just be like, yeah, it's cool, you murdered my parents. Or parent, but still.
Yeah.
The whole thing's messed up, and to condemn one but not the other is just fucked up, and that's one of the problems with society. Because everyone will go, oh, no, you can't abuse someone mentally, or you can't be mean to someone. It's okay if you kill someone. That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, in all fairness, though, he also sacrificed his own life to save Emma's life. So, that's he did some good actions on the way to redeeming himself, even though he didn't fully do it yet. I can understand why they'd be like, you sacrificed your life to save our daughter. It's a horrible thing that happened in the past, but you're not that man anymore.
You mean much like Rumpelstiltskin sacrificed his life?
Yes, and then came back and immediately took back the darkness, turned back into an asshole, and continued abusing people.
Yes,
he because did that shit.
Because of his addiction.
I don't think it's an addiction. I think he's just a coward that hides behind power.
That's what they've called it before now as well. They've said in the show, if you want to go by in-world explanations, they've said he's a coward, and as a result, he's addicted to the darkness.
I've never heard the word addiction come up in relation to that I can recall.
Actually, I only saw the first 13 episodes, but I can tell you in one of the last 3 episodes, Rumpel literally said, use the word addiction. He literally did use the word addiction to describe his thing to magic.
Fair enough.
Yep. Which is weird because no one's going to help him out when, technically speaking, people forget the person with the addiction is as much a victim because they struggle with it their whole lives.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of the show itself, it's a case of, this show's messed up on the parts of it. Because like I said, every time they need to every single time they think, oh, how can we do this? They just throw something in the works. It just seems convoluted to the sense of drama. Like, oh, look, now they're another sleeping curse and one's awake while the other's asleep.
I thought it was kind of weird. I left each other weird little notes and stuff. Like, hey, you're awake now. I made you some toast. Now you're awake now. Go do this. Now you're awake now. It's like, oh my God.
Yep. It was weird and stupid.
It was too. They wrote that in because they had a second kid and they each wanted to spend some time with their damn kids, which I can understand. So they wrote it in such a way they don't need one of them per episode.
Yeah, it's also but it's just weird. And it's also weird and bad writing. It's just weird as well that Henry's author stuff just got dropped really fast by the end of the season.
Well, it was just that his other powers were kind of overloaded because it was coming to the end of the book and it was having an effect on him, and then he was scribbling on the pages, but he eventually figured out what that meant, so.
Yeah, but I mean, they quickly did it just to get rid of him as the author, to make him ready for this reboot, as people want to call it, even though it's technically not.
No, he was still the author. It was just to write that paper down so that they'd have that thing in the finale, so they'd have a reason for the Black Friday to say, oh, I need to have Gideon fight you instead. That was all that was for. It was an excuse to have him be the one in the fight.
Yeah, and then at the end, now that he's in the book as the main character, he won't be the author of the book.
Actually, people are theorizing that's actually going to be a thing in season 7, is that now that there's a new curse and he lives in the real world, the idea is going to be that Henry Mills in the regular world is known as the author of a story called Once Upon a Time that's about the adventures that his family actually went through, but people think is a fiction.
Yes, but has there been any evidence of this?
No, but there is evidence.
We have to go off what's shown on the screen.
Yeah, which is at the end, Henry gives his daughter a book and says, guard this book with your life. So if he's not the author, he's still the guardian of the book, if nothing else.
Yeah, which, as they mentioned in Once Upon a Time previously, they said the author can't write anything in the book that's to do with themselves. So if the story's about Henry, he couldn't write it.
He can write it to do with themselves as long as he doesn't try to change the natural course of events.
They also said that you're not meant to use it to help yourself. Which, if he makes himself the hero as he writes it, that shouldn't happen.
Well, he didn't make himself the hero though. The events, he just wrote the events as they played out in the book.
which,
In
like
which
I
he
said,
happened to be the hero.
yeah, which is weird. Which should it seems like it contradicts the other, because like they said, there's always a hero and there's always an author. Not there's always a hero who happens to be the author. And all
Well,
the
like I said, in
others,
this game, but Henry wasn't the hero. The hero was Emma. Henry just had to wake her up so that she could be the hero again. He's still only a side character, so it's fine.
yeah, but next season it's meant to be him in the book, and you're like, okay.
Right, that's why we're gonna have to see what happens. Is he still the author? Is he still guarding the book? We're gonna have to find out what's going on. We don't know. We can't make any assumptions.
But you just have multiple.
We don't know. We don't know. I have to wait and find out. Is he still the author? I would think so. And if he's not the author, how did he lose the author powers? Is he still guarding this book here? This is obviously a new book, so it's really going to be the question.
Yeah, that was my point. If we can't just say, oh, hey, if someone's got a theory to do with the show and it's good, we should discuss it. Someone saying something that's bad, oh, we can't discuss that. It's like, no, you have to go both ways. And from what was shown on this thing, it looks like he's probably not going to be the author anymore.
I don't know. The fact that the entire premise of the few clips they showed hinting at next season are entirely revolving around him, the girl, and the book.
Yeah, in a very similar way to what happened with him in the first book when he wasn't an author.
Yeah, but he was also the kid in that one. He couldn't be the author when he was that young. It wasn't until he was older that he matured enough to become the author. So, like I said, we don't know. We can't assume that he's not the author. We can't assume that he is either. So we're going to have to wait and see.
Yeah, we can't assume he is, but based on what's been said in the show previously about the fact that they're two different roles, and based on the fact that people who wrote this show have gone on record as saying that it was going to be a semi, as they called it, reboot, even though it's not, about Henry and a new book with him as the hero trying to break the curse and his daughter's in the same role as him, logically speaking, you can't assume he would be the author then.
Pinocchio should be the author. He's already good at it.
Pinocchio is awesome at it.
Pinocchio was awesome.
But yeah, this season 6 was but yeah, we had a musical episode which was partly good. The songs were good. Some of them were just inserted for no reason. They felt like, but it was still good.
Yeah, the musicals were good. The songs were well written, which it's Disney and Alan Menken. I'm not surprised. The problem is there was the songs and there was the plot and there was no connecting the two.
Well, some of the songs were well written.
Which one didn't you like?
Like the Evil Queen's modern thing, while it's meant to be about her, when it's meant to be her singing it in fucking like medieval times, as the thing was, as the Enchanted Forest was, felt really fucking out of place. But I'd feel as out of place as if one of the dwarfs had come up and go, "Hey, yo." And so it felt like really badly designed for what it needed to be.
Should be like a Queen rap or something.
And I was looking forward to her song. I was like, oh, I want to see her song. I want to see Rumpelstiltskin's song. Her song, I was like, it wasn't that good. It wasn't that good as a song, and it didn't fit. It didn't fit the theme of where she was singing it at all. It was like, no, this is awkward.
Yep. I like the musical episode. Yeah, I will agree with Gina's is the weakest song, but I think that's because, no offense to her, I think just Lana Parrilla happened to be the weakest vocalist of the cast. So they tried to write a song in such a way that it would work with what her vocal range and ability was. Whereas people who had more vocal ability, like the Charmings, had their opening song that was great. Emma's song at the end was beautiful, and there was and Selena knocked it out of the park with her song in Oz. It's just a matter of different songs for different folks.
It is, but like I said, that's one of the issues of it. It wasn't necessarily the song. I didn't complain about her singing. It was literally the problem with that. It was literally the tempo and the beats of the song and the style. It's like it didn't fit right. And you can do songs where people talk without it having to be modern hip hop-ish.
I know. I think they were just trying to go with something that would be, that would seem, fully like a song, but work with Lana Parrilla's vocal range. I think that was the only reason they went with that, is it worked with what she could do.
I didn't think that could work. I didn't think that worked with what they were trying to go for. Because, like I said, the beats were off. Because you can go with, like I said, you can go with like a talking, more dramatic tone with music and have it not be like that.
Mm.
Like hell, look at what they did in The Lion King with Be Prepared.
Yeah.
They got someone similar to that sound, and they got him to do some of it and mixed it together, type stuff. Which they could have just done that. They could have got someone similar to sing some of her stuff and just dubbed it out and done it that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, perhaps.
It wouldn't. I mean, it wouldn't be the first TV show with a musical in which some of the stars didn't sing.
True.
So it just felt that one song I felt was off. I
Yeah.
liked the rest of them. I was disappointed Rumpel didn't get a proper song.
Yeah, because Robert Carlyle can't sing.
Yeah, but again, you could use voice people instead of him, and hell, you could just do a fun little song with him. It's like not necessarily singing, but more.
No, I was being serious. Because from what I've been told, I haven't heard, but when I told in other performances, Robert Carlyle can in fact sing. So it's a shame that he didn't.
Oh, sorry, I think because he can't sing. I was like, okay.
He can sing. From what I've been told, that's why it's kind of a shame that he didn't. But it was more to stay in line with the character, especially of Enchanted Forest Rumble. You wouldn't necessarily expect him to sing.
He's insane. He should be singing.
Yeah, I was expecting his song to be similar to "Mother's Knows Best." Listen to your mumsy from Tangled.
You're right. I could see that. But it's still that great moment where Regina's at the president. She cues him to the song, and he turns on the music and goes just like, "Are you out of your mind, dearie? The dark one doesn't sing." That was funny.
That wasn't a great moment for me. As we've described in the past, for me, that was more like Dante in the DMC remake, having a white wig and going never again and throwing it down. It's like, don't make fun of the fact you're disappointing us.
Huh.
Because to be fair, like you said, it's Disney. Their villain songs are usually a staple of Disney musicals. Most people love the villain songs more than that in some of Disney. But basically, it's a case of, and that's called a segue, Jim. But yeah, basically.
No, that's called foreshadowing.
No, because I explicitly said what it was. I went back into it. But yes, basically, it's a case of you had an opportunity to have one of the most fun villains doing the most fun songs in a musical, and you say, nah.
Yeah.
Like, Enchanted Forest Rumpel would definitely sing. Like you said, he's fucking insane.
I think he's already sang.
He's like you're gonna say, he's already sang some of the stuff when he's taunting people before.
Yeah. So like it's not out of character. He's already like blah 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 blah. Like, he's already like done that, you know. So it's not like out of character.
Fair enough.
Which it was just weird. Was there anything else you guys wanted to discuss in this before we get to the final?
Dark Pharaoh was gonna be like dressed in like black or stuff, but then she dressed in like purple, and it kind of disappointed me.
She was in black for most of it.
Oh, but like it's with the purple threw me off. I didn't like it, but that's a very small thing. Just aesthetics.
Mm.
I wanted her to be just a wave of darkness, and then it kind of reminded me of like pony darkness.
Yeah, the purple's usually a trick they use so you can see it better in darker lighting.
Yeah.
Because black stuff in black lighting doesn't really work, whereas if the purple, it shows you what she's wearing, so it highlights her more.
Yeah.
It's similar to how if you ever read any of the old Spider-Man comics, Venom always has a purple tint in part. A lot of times when he's in shadow and stuff, he doesn't actually have the purple tint. It's just so he can, you know what I mean? It's more, it's more fun. But yeah, the evil fairy was not a good character.
Do you think Venom's purple tint is why all the symbiotes in that first PS1 game were purple?
Maybe because you fought them in sewer levels and stuff, so it was easier to see.
Might make sense. Anyway, so I would just say before we go to the fight, it felt like there wasn't proper build up, and there was just too much going on that wasn't really followed up on. Like the Evil Queen's redemption was weird. I mean, okay, that's interesting, but why? Like, felt like you introduced her just to do this, and there was no point to any of it. Hyde was a letdown. As much as Sam Witwer did a great job with the character, I will say. And the whole thing with Gideon, I think he needed a better. No offense to the actor, but I feel like he wasn't well suited to character. I felt like it was a little. I don't know.
He's like, win. It's like, oh God, just kill yourself. Sorry, that's kind of how I felt about him.
Yeah, he probably would have been more suited if they just named him Kylo Ren.
Yeah, that's about right.
But it's a case of, yeah, like I said, the evil. I keep calling it the evil fairy. The Black Fairy wasn't a good villain. We've had some
not at
great
all.
villains. Like Pan was a great villain, and her story basically done right. The Snow Queen from she was awesome. Zelina was fun.
Yep.
We were like Cruella and stuff were fun. This one just was like, And the actress is good. It's just that role wasn't good.
Yeah. Because that actress has been in other things. There's a prominent role she has. She plays H.G. Wells in something. I don't remember what.
H.G. Wells, as in like the Flash?
Yep.
No,
it's in like the popular author H.G. Wells. The famous author that wrote the book The Time Machine.
That's H.R.
Yes. Yes, it is. But yeah, it's a case of and then they spent episodes hyping the most disappointing final ever.
The final had problems, but there were parts of it that I enjoyed. I like the concept that the battle is a battle for Emma's belief. It's a battle for her soul, as was I think stated outright by Snow at one point. It's not an actual sword fight throwing fireballs battle. It's a battle for belief, and I think that really fits the overall message of the show.
See, as I mentioned before we recorded this, I hated that because they spent so many episodes telling us it was going to be an epic battle and describing it as basically like a full war. And with some of the stuff they've done in the show, you're like, oh, this could be amazing to watch. And then it's with a sword, and then it's over.
They did say war, which made me think more people would be involved.
Yeah. It feels weird. It's like they hyped up, oh my god, this is going to be an amazing fight over. Basically, to put it in terms Jim would understand, they finger poked us with no reason to finger poke. It was like, wait, what? They could have made it so much better. Like the show wasn't just about Emma; it was also about like magic and all the heart of the shows from the beginning. And I wanted to see something cool.
Maybe, but I think it was because the heart of from the beginning was getting Emma to believe, was showing that these people are actually these characters, that fairy tales can be real, that these worlds and these magic exist, that you believe in something that is greater than the ordinary, believe in something that things can
Didn't she
be.
do that season 1? So what's the point in doing it now?
Bookend.
So what? She already believes.
Bookends.
She's close.
I'm just gonna say for the record, bookends aren't good if you force them. Bookends are good if they're cool. She got over that. There's no reason to go back, even bookend excuse, because the part of the character had grown past this. This just reset her development because she turned that belief into white magic, and they did all the other stuff with it.
Right,
which is thought of it with magic. It would
right, which is why the Black Fairy thought it would be the cruelest of all ironies to defeat her and destroy the lands of story simultaneously by making Emma not believe. It would be the cruelest of all ways to possibly defeat her.
How'd that work out?
Well, it did. Villains never win, but it was still an interesting concept that would did that. Again, in the Facebook group that I go, somebody made a point that it seems like what the writers might have done is they might have had this ending plan from the beginning, and it was probably intended to be either Regina or the Evil Queen. This was at the end. It was going to be the curse again, and she's got to break it again. But the show went so long and they introduced so much new stuff that they didn't have a way to get back to it when the endings finally came, and so they had to force it in there with an undeveloped villain that made no goddamn sense. Because given how much close it is to season 1, I would totally believe that they wrote this back then, and we're just waiting to put it at the end, and then realizing they got there that shit, this doesn't make any goddamn sense, but we have to do it anyway because it's the only ending we have.
See, I wouldn't. I'd believe they threw this together at the last second, and all they did is go, "Oh shit, what should we do? Hey, do you remember season 1? People loved it in season 1. Let's just copy that."
That could be. But there were some good moments in it though. Some good stuff. Just some interesting, showing that, once again, Henry and Emma having their dynamic back was nice for a little bit, having that again, because Henry hadn't been able to do much for quite some time. So it was nice seeing that, getting to have that dynamic again. When Rumple killed the Dark Fairy by busting out the magic as a price line, I just thought that was amazing. I fanned at that a little bit because I'm like, oh, that's so awesome. Because I love Rumple, the fact that he pulled out the line and then just straight out like, yes. That was cool. Sorry, I really like that. Much as it had no setup, it made no sense. It was just an awesome moment. I loved it. So there were a couple of good things about it here and there. And I thought the little fairy tale endings they got, all the Charmies get to have a house and they got a dog and they're living in a farm and Snow's teaching again and Emma and Hook are the co-sheriffs and everybody's hanging out at Granny's and Selena's getting to raise her child. And even Rumple and Bill got their Beauty and the Beast dance that they probably shouldn't have had without Rumple getting a redemption. But hey.
Yeah, to me, it just felt, I don't know, it just felt bland and disappointing. Like, they put a load of stuff in there, but no real substance for it, and it just felt like, I don't know, it just felt like it was the cheapest way out possible.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't enjoy any of the final. I got through the first episode of the final, like, oh, for God's sake, there's another part to this crap. I'm watching the second one, just like, oh, this is terrible. This is some of the worst writing I've ever seen.
An interesting thing, I kind of would like to...
Now, I said, I know that's not true because you've watched Power Rangers.
Yeah, we had to, but some of the writing on Power Rangers is more thought out than this. Forever Red was more thought out than this final.
Ouch.
Hell, the Power Rangers movie that bombed was more thought out than this shit.
Wow. Which is ironic you say that because they were both shot in the same town.
They were. We all know this. But they were both shot in the same town, and they both fail horribly in ratings.
Mm.
And neither one should get another season or another sequel.
Storybrooke needs a Krispy Kreme. Anyway, yeah, overall, I think there were some good parts. And the other great part I liked at the end was when the dwarves had rebuilt the window on Regina's office door, and they backed away, and it said Regina Mills Queen. And you got that sense that, of all the people, Grumpy was the one who had always most objected to Regina and not trusted her because of all she had done. And the fact that even they finally came around and agreed that Regina had earned a second chance, had earned redemption, that they were respecting her as queen, not out of fear, but out of respect for her and wanting her to be the ruler. I thought that was really cool, too.
Grumpy's just dead inside ever since he changed, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, Grumpy's weird. He fell in love with a woman we never saw again, Fred from Angel, and then he basically every single season he says no, Regina won't change, and forgives her and moves on anyway, which means this whole moment was pointless because he does it every year.
Yeah.
Mm.
This is as pointless as Rumpelstiltskin saying, hey, I'm going to be redeemed, just to pick up the darkness again, like the next episode.
Mm. Fair enough. All right,
and
so
the whole thing with the Kraken, and I was like, oh, what?
Yeah, Kraken's blood to come in, that was weird.
The only way that would have made sense if they teamed him with Jack Sparrow.
That would have been cool. Oh, Agrabah was in the jewel ring the whole time.
Yep.
So
I get it. I don't.
Well, the ring is in the Aladdin movie, but no.
Yeah, but the whole city's in town, isn't it?
Yeah. Anyway, final thoughts on season 6.
Terrible season. I don't know how anyone with a brain could like this. It basically contradicts itself, implodes upon itself, and it's just sheer probably lazy writing at its core, to the point that it's like, okay, maybe you'll go, yay, I like this if you're some sort of blind Disney fan, but it's like, even if you're a Disney fan, you should hate what the fuck they've done to your characters.
I found this.
It's terrible. I'm gonna do it. Thumb down.
Yeah.
This was terrible. This was the worst season ever. This made fucking the Peter Pan arc look like an Emmy award-winning series. This was so bad, it made Power Rangers Turbo look like a HBO show.
Whoa, let's not go that far.
I've gone that far. It's too late.
Wow.
You asked for my opinion. I gave it.
Damn.
As another one would say from one of the previous seasons, off with its head.
There you go. Pew, what do you think?
I think this was super boring and appealing. I just watched it and I was doing laundry and I didn't even bother pausing it when I went downstairs to get a drink or anything, or I would just leave the room and come back and be like, oh, nope, still doesn't make sense. At least when that I'm leaving, I have a reason for it not to make sense, and, you know.
Well, that says something. The fact you had to go get drinks to even get through half of it.
Are you kidding me? I got ice cream. I freaking actually had like 4 almost got freaking drunk as having 4 beers watching this shit. At the end last night anyway.
Beer and ice cream, that's an interesting combo.
Well, I
Also,
had ice cream
to
earlier
point
one
out-
day.
One thing I will point out: fuck this show again for what they did to Robin Hood again.
Oh yeah, he's fucking back.
It turns out if Robin Hood hadn't met the evil queen, he wouldn't have been a hero. He was just a jackass.
Yeah.
And you're like, but you're Robin Hood. You're meant to be a hero. Where's the whimsical fun, Robin Hood? You had a chance to do him right, and you made him worse than ever.
Yeah.
Well, that was Wish Realm Robin. That was in a completely different realm where I believe they established he never married with Marion, and as a result, that's where he never really became good because he wasn't inspired to to do good things in order to redeem himself to be worthy of Marion.
Yes, but anyone who's read anything to do with Robin Hood would know he was good, and that
Before.
stuff led to him meeting Marion.
Yeah.
This is
He was good
completely
before.
stupid.
Yeah.
And they couldn't even bother to pay Sean McGuire to show up for the finale. They had to get a bit of voiceover.
Whoa.
The hell?
That's my dad
What?
probably talking to a cat, and my dad said, "I'll kill you. Get out of here." He's probably talking to a cat, but he yelled really loud.
So what you're saying is we couldn't even be asked to pay him to appear in person, and just got him to appear as a voiceover right
Exactly.
on the exact segment.
Right. So anyway, yeah, I agree. I mean, I do numerical rating out of 100 on most things. This is like a 65, 70 at best. This is like
That's way
Not-
too generous.
probably, but I'm going there anyway because it is at least a season. There are good episodes here. The actors did a good job with their characters as they could. Sam Witwer was great as Hyde. The actors for Light and Jasmine were good. I mean, they got good casting down. There were good bits here and there, but they didn't fit together at all. The whole thing was just a conjoined fucking mess.
I will just point out one flaw with your rating system.
Okay.
60. It got 60 to 70 because it was a season. That's the bare minimum a season should be. What did you expect it to be? A fucking movie? It's a season. It's called season 6. It's in the title. What the fuck? It's just like, well, Scrubs series 9, 70 out of 100. It was a season, I suppose.
Let's not even go there. I'm afraid that's where season 7 is going.
It is. Enjoy that. But no, it's a case of, yeah, it gets 70 for being a season. That's its bare minimum.
Like I said, it gets 70 because there were good parts to it. There were good moments. The acting was good. The songs in the musical episode were good. There was a lot of good things to it. It's just the bad overwhelmed the good. Just the conjoined, mostly the writing. The writing was just garbage the entire fucking season. Everything was, except for like a few minor moments here and there. And it's like, everything was conjointed. There were too many villains. It didn't fit together. It felt like there was no cohesive story throughout the whole season. The Black Fairy was a complete fucking letdown.
Oh
So
no, I completely
basically,
agree. I was just making a joke about the wording of. I get that because it's a season. I'm like, oh, come on, yeah, that's its bare minimum.
Fair enough. But yeah, overall, this is not very good. My only hope is that because we're going into season 7, this might be a chance because of the change-ups and the most of the cast being gone, that they might be able to bring in some new ideas and some new main characters and work with the older Henry to really develop his character more and hopefully do something new and different that'll let them get some fresh ideas in here.
See, I disagree. I think with season 7, the problem was never the characters. The problem was the writing. So you still got the same writers, but now they're going to have to try and come up with new characters after they've already used up their best stuff.
Well, I think the problem with the writers is that they've had those same characters for so long, they ran out of ways to use and develop them. There was nothing interesting left to do with those characters. A couple that we haven't explored, we haven't explored more.
That's,
Yeah, there's more.
that shouldn't be a thing because there was 5 seasons before this.
mhm.
How many seasons of Game of Thrones is there? How many seasons of Buffy was there?
There's about
Yeah.
4. There's about 4 of Game of Thrones so far, and Buffy. Yeah, there was a lot. I know.
There's been more than 4 seasons of Game of Thrones.
Has there? I don't think so. I could be wrong.
You probably are.
No. Anyway, overall, yeah, this season was just a letdown. It had problems, and I'm praying that they fix it for in season 7. If only if they can bring some new characters in and they can have new backstories, and then perhaps maybe they can bring some new stories in here and we can have something interesting and different. Oh yeah, Game of Thrones season 7 is coming out in July. Okay, fair enough. They're on 7.
Yeah, and that still manages to stay relevant and fresh. They got no excuse.
And it says relevant and fresh, yeah, because it was all pre-written in books. All they have to do is read the books and then put what's in the book on the screen.
Pew, how different is Game of Thrones TV show to the books? Like a season or 2, didn't they deliberately split off so they could?
Oh yeah, it's not.
Catch
Like,
up?
I don't read the books, but my sister watches the show and reads the books, and they're completely different now.
Well, yeah, because they ran out of books, so I know the last season or 2 they have been, but
ever since season 1, where Khaleesi didn't get and Khaleesi got raped in the book, and she didn't. Oh, sorry, she didn't get raped in the book, but she did get raped on the show. Ever since then, it's been different, and that's what happened in the first, not first episode, but the first season.
oh, okay.
Yeah, they've got some original stuff in there, but it's a case of there's multiple different seasons of multiple TV shows, and they don't get this lazy. And it's not just like they got lazy in season 6. Every season we said they've been terrible. They've gotten worse and worse. Since season 3 onwards, the writing keeps getting worse each season.
Yeah, I would say season 4 onwards, because season 4 was okay, because they did have the Frozen arc with a very well-written villain in that, and when Rumble brought the 3 others back and introduced the whole author storyline, that was unique and cool. But everything from, I would say, the end of season 4 onward has just been steadily getting worse.
Yeah, season 4 had the Frozen arc, but it also had the second half, which wasn't that good.
I thought it was interesting that they introduced the whole concept of the author, the sorcerer. They introduced the sorcerer's apprentice. They brought back those 3 villainesses who worked together. There was some interesting stuff there. The end of season 4 onward, they went, we're going to go Dark Emma, and then Camelot, and then Underworld, and then all the shit that was this season. Like, those 5 and 6 are just been garbage.
Yeah, like I didn't like the villain to team up either, where it's like, oh, we got different Ursula. It turns out the Ursula you originally saw wasn't really Ursula, and they had to make that out just to explain why the actress has changed. And you're like, oh, come on.
Well, the original Ursula was Regina.
Yes, but then right at the end, she gets told by Ursula, don't do that again.
Yeah, but not by a real Ursula, by like some statue that came to life, so there wasn't even really an actress.
Yeah, but the idea behind it was the person who did that wasn't Ursula.
Right.
They said something like that was the goddess Ursula, and this is just a different Ursula. Like, oh, fuck off. And what was the point of her being that Ursula? We've seen Ursula.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like each season, it's like, no, stop this.
Mm.
Like season 4 was when they did the thing where Rumpelstiltskin came back and undid his entire redemption.
Mm.
So,
Well,
yeah.
which would have been fine if they had decided he was just going to be an irredeemable villain and just went with that, but they didn't.
Yeah, but he shouldn't have been because the people wanted to see him redeemed anyway.
I don't want
And
to see him
people
redeemed.
loved the character.
I don't know, because like I said, even when during the brief time they made him a hero and everything, I didn't like that. It didn't feel like it was the character. I think he should have just been the irredeemable, just villainous, dark asshole. That was just his character. That was what was fun and entertaining to watch.
See, to me, it was a case of he was in love. People wanted to see Belle and the Beast together. That's a love story from Disney you shouldn't shit all over, which they did. And it's a case of, you know what I mean? It's a case of, like, especially now when Beauty and the Beast movies just come out, they could have been milking that stuff. And I know you're going to say they wouldn't have known. But, like, you've had TV shows where you've had villains, like, I'll use Buffy again, of, like, Spike. Couldn't Rumpelstiltskin have still been a bad good guy like Spike when he turned good?
Yeah.
That would have made more sense. Yeah, I would have been okay with that.
I mean, I wasn't expecting him to suddenly walk through the door and be like, "Oh, hi, I'm Mr. Nice," and turn into fucking Jimmy Cricket, the psychiatrist. But he could have kept his Mr. Gold alert of how dark he was, but yet still been a hero.
I would have been fine with
Lots of heroes go that route.
Yeah, I would have been okay with that as long as he still had some kind of magic ability. And the real problem was that a big part of Rumpelstiltskin's character is his ability to use magic. And if they had just taken away the darkness but left him with some level of magic ability, I think that would have been fine.
Yeah, even if they took away his magic and he just fought with a sword or something and learned other ways, it would still be cool.
Maybe.
Because let's face it, like season 1, technically he didn't use much magic.
Yeah.
That's because there was no magic in Storybook in season 1.
Yes,
Yeah, but like do the
season,
potion science magic thing.
yeah, in season 1, as people kept using, season 1 was its best season, as people normally say, and that's the
Yeah.
heart of what the show was created as. So he was created that way.
True. Fair enough. Well, this has been a review of Season 6 of Once Upon a Time. Thank you, two, for joining me, as always.
Season 6.
And I don't know if you two will be able to tolerate it. I at least will be back to look at Season 7 next year.
I just want to see it because it's going to be a complete train wreck.
It might be. And if it is, we'll be back to talk about it being a train wreck.
It'll be a literal train wreck because they use Anastasia, the movie.
It'll be a literal train wreck because this is where they bring in Thomas from the land of forgotten stories.
Ha!
And they officially make it canon that Emma's car was Herbie the whole time.
Yes.
There you go.
Resurrect Jake from the Neverland Pirates.
There you go. But think about
All
the Thomas idea. Think about that. Imagine if the big bad for the next season was Diesel. Come on.
Oh my god.
That would be cool, but only if he brings his friend Razor with him.
Yes.
He's got a fucking permanent rape face.
He doesn't. Diesel's cool.
All right. We'll see.
Diesel got redeemed.
He did. All right. We'll see you next time, folks. Peace.